ফুফলা এনেখন মৰমৰ দেশ ও মোৰ আপোনাৰ দেশ ও মোৰ চিকুনি দেশ এনেখন শুৱলা এনেখন ফুফলা এনেখন মৰমৰ দেশ ও মোৰ ঘূৰিয়া মাত অসমৰ সুদিমা পৃথিৱীৰ ক'তো বিচাৰি জনমটো নোপোৱা কৰিলেও পাৰ ও মোৰ উপজা ঠাই ও মোৰ অসমীয়াই চাই লওঁ এবাৰ মুখনি তোমাৰ হেঁপাহ মোৰ পলোৱা নাই চাই লওঁ এবাৰ মুখনি তোমাৰ হেঁপাহ মোৰ পলোৱা নাই ও মোৰ আপোনাৰ দেশ ও মোৰ চিকুনি দেশ এনেখন শুৱলা এনেখন ফুফলা এনেখন মৰমৰ দেশ
So, namaste and good evening, all our esteemed participants and viewers watching this live program this evening. On behalf of Council for Teacher Education, Assam Chapter, I, your host, Dr. Archana Bhattacharjee, welcome all of you virtually to our second talk show this month on a very important topic, NEP 2020, Empowering the Teachers and the Teacher Educators with New Reforms. We have invited a very dynamic, resourceful academician to our midst as a resource person, and I'm sure all of us will learn a lot from her through our interaction. Her name is Dr. Sandhya Kadekar, and she is the principal of Gokhale Education Society's College of Education, Sangamner, Maharashtra. She is, for your information, very, very passionate about innovative ways of teaching, learning with the help of technology. She has 15 years of teaching experience in the College of Education for B.Ed and MA education students and 5 years of administrative experience. She is the director. Now, this is a very important line, and that just shows how versatile she is. She is a director of Empowered Butterflies Training and Research Academy, Mumbai, for self-defense training to girls. And to date, she has given training to more than 10,000 girls in Mumbai. She is a mixed martial arts trainer and also a Karatean black belt holder. We are proud of you, Sandhya. She is also a PhD guide of Savitri Phule University of Pune and NCT member of Teacher Education, Delhi. She is a recipient of many national and international awards and has published more than 92 research papers in reputed national and international journals and presented more than 125 papers at various conferences and seminars. She has also organized more than 30 national and international workshops on various topics. She is the educational advisor of Meghalaya and Madhya Pradesh state educational projects. She has also authored various books which are available both online and offline. Her book on ICT, published in Germany, is available on Amazon. Now, before starting our discussion, I would like to invite our International Secretary General and Chairman of CTEF Assam Chapter, our very own Professor Nilima Bhagavati Ma'am. I request, excuse me. I request all the participants to keep their audio muted all throughout the talk show.
When sound comes, it sounds very odd.
It is very disturbing for the resource person as well as others also. So please keep your audio muted. Now, before starting our discussion, I would like to invite our International Secretary General and Chairman of CTEF Assam Chapter, our very own Professor Nilima Bhagwati ma'am, who actually needs no formal introduction. Her name itself is her identity. And she is here with us today to inaugurate our talk show and offer her short welcome address. Over to you, Nilima ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Archana. Namaste to all, and namaste particularly to our guest speaker today, Dr. Sandhya Khidikar. Okay. Yes, actually, if I give my introduction, Archana, I give my introduction as a mother and a teacher. First I'm a mother, then I'm a teacher. And as I love my children at home, nurturing them, so I also want to nurture the entire children outside the home. This is what is always in my mind, so that both these are extremely a part of each and every woman, and that's how we are working. Actually, all women are great. That's what I want to say. All women are great, and they are working for 24/7. That is what I always say. That is really great. Thank you, Dr. Sandhya, for your very positive consent to be the speaker in this evening, and the area on which you are going to interact with all the participants and the viewers, that is also very, very important. That is teacher education. Teacher education is an area, I should say, is an area which needs more focus. If you just look around, you will find that there are two areas in the education sector. One is the pre-primary stage, and the other one is the teacher education sector, which actually people does not know many things. They do not know many things about it, and it is ignored also. So therefore, today's topic is really important, and she is going to definitely appraise all of you lots of things about teacher education. But before that, I just want to highlight some of the aspects of teacher education, since I am very much associated with NCT and particularly with ERC chairperson. But I will not give any comment, because today's I will be only a listener, so that I can go and say and pass whatever resolution you say, whatever discussions you say to the NCT office, so that it can be more focused. You all know that NEP, National Education Policy, is a historic one. After 1986, all of you know that the policy we had, it could not be translated into reality. Who will translate into reality? It is not the government, not the stakeholders, but it's the teachers. The teachers has to translate whatever policy India adopts or any country adopts, because education sector, teachers and students, they are the most inseparable part. That is why the deputy chairperson of Niti Aayog, when we attended a meeting, he said that government has given us the national education policy after long, long years. It's a historic one from many aspects. It is bringing a resurgence in the field of education, but it will be successful if each and every teacher comes out from the conservative, from the traditional web, and try to internalize, take the policy as their own, right? I'm repeating again, and translate into reality. He also stated, as I often speak, that the generation which we had, but we were once upon a time, in the 60s or 70s or say even 80s, those children were totally different from the children we have now. A teacher, if he or if she does not change her mindset, does not change her attitude according to the requirements of the children of the generation, we cannot term the teacher, he or her, a successful teacher. Therefore, when you go to NEP, you will find that it is not the teacher, his duty is not just to say something from the textbook. Even the children get everything from the textbook. They don't need that. You just see all the children. You do not have to give them information. They already acquire information. So many sources are there. But the teacher's duty, as has been stated in the National Education Policy, how to learn. How to learn is the concept each and every teacher must put in their mind and should be mentally ready. The readiness should be there that he or she is my child. I have to nurture him. I have to develop him. I have to make him learn how to learn. And if you go a little bit to our Swami Vivekananda's philosophy, he already stated that the aim of education should be man-making. And who will do that job, man-making? It is the teachers who will do that job. Now, you must have seen those who have gone through the National Education Policy. If somebody has gone once, I request you to go twice, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, particularly 10 times to understand it. You will find that the experiential learning is there, art-related, sports-related. You will find the vocational, which has been given enough trust on the National Education Policy. You will find from the foundation stage to the higher education stage, how the stages are different and how the stages should be handled by the teachers to make the way for their holistic development. This is what is very important for you, my dear teachers. You have to keep it in mind. And this also, I'm not saying from the National Education Policy, yes, it is there, but this is from the experience of 43 years. This is what I feel. We, the people, maybe we feel that we are so ignored. The government do not look to us. It is not that. It is our accountability. It is our duty. If we are getting into this profession, you have to take it as your holy duty, I should say. Before entering the classroom, আমি যেনেকে যজ্ঞ কৰো শান্তিৰ কাৰণে সমাজখন ভাল হ'বৰ কাৰণে, just as you do the havan for the welfare of the society, for peace, etc. Like that, it is the duty of the teacher to do the havan every day before entering the classroom, that I will bring difference in my children. This is what you should do. So therefore, the teacher education plays a very pivotal role, very important role in developing the teacher educators who will enter the classroom as teachers. So the entire system at say right now, I will not give any remark about what it is or how it should be, but we have lots to do. We have lots to do. We should bring teacher education from commercial to ethical. This is our first duty. Then only teacher education will be successful. Secondly, teacher education must have that curriculum, as has already been said. And today I attended the meeting just now from 6 to 7. These things were discussed today in the meeting in focus group, right? How the curriculum should be for the teacher education also. So these things are already, big discussions are going on. But today we have a special person with us who is in teacher education, and it is her, really, I know her well, it is her passion. Dr. Archana has already said, teaching is a passion. The innovativeness it tries to bring always. And I think I will also learn lots from her today. I am also a learner. I am also a learner. I learned from her today, and I expect you will also learn lots of things from her today. So I do hope Council for Teacher Education is trying the best, the Assam chapter, to carry forward the mission and vision of our late founder president, Dr. Gulab Chaurasia. That is to develop the teachers as competent, resourceful, and skillful teachers. So once they become competent, resourceful, and skillful teachers, I am sure the outcome will be great. The outcome will be effective, very much effective. And that is what we want in education for the holistic development of children. I will not speak much, but on behalf of CTF Assam chapter, I welcome you all. I welcome each and every participant. I welcome Dr. Sandhya Kadekar, our own EBM members, our own LIGHT members who are here, I'm sure. And I hope it will be a very impactful session with interaction with her. And as you already know, Dr. Sandhya, that CTF Assam has round about 460 LIGHT members, and about 10 educational institutions are our members. And we have a very active EBM executive board meeting. They all are youngsters practically and doing very hard work. And consecutively for the second time, CTF Assam was awarded the best performing chapter. This is in our mind, and we'll go on working. We will go on working to develop the teacher, thereby to give a big contribution to the nation. This is what is in our mind, and I will not go any longer and take time. And with this, I just declare the interaction, which will be handled by Dr. Archana Bhattacharjee, will be very impactful. And I declare that the session is open for the resource person as well as for Dr. Archana Bhattacharjee. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Nilima ma'am, for your welcome address. As usual, that's an art in itself, I think, because within a very short span of time and within a very few words, you have actually encompassed the entire concept of the new education policy. And you have highlighted some of the very important and relevant points here. And I'm sure our resource person this evening, Dr. Sandhya, will be taking up on all of that. But I like what you stressed on particularly about this particular policy being a historic one. Definitely. Once it is implemented and we see the outcome in a couple of years' time, I'm sure you will be proved correct that it is indeed going to bring about great transformation as far as the education system of our country is concerned. And as you have so rightly pointed out, that teachers actually have a very important role to play in this education policy. So without the 100% support of the teachers, this education policy will not be successful. So the time has come for them to come out of the comfort zone and to take up their work seriously and do their best, contribute their best towards nation building. So on this positive note, I welcome our resource person, Dr. Sandhya Kadekar. And once again, greetings on behalf of CTF Assam. And the first question that I have for you is obviously the question which keeps buzzing in the head of all the teachers, though they have read a lot of documents, though they have attended a lot of webinars and conferences and other things on this theme, but still, at the corner, at the back of the mind, there is a question. And today, we would like to hear your views on this. So the question goes like this: what according to you is the vision of new education policy 2020? Over to you.
Yeah. Namaste and a very good evening to all. Honorable Professor Nilima Bhagwati ma'am, Dr. Archana Bhattacharjee ma'am, and all the dignitaries present in this room. First of all, let me congratulate CTF Assam chapter because they have performed in extraordinary way, because all the performers of CTF Assam are excellent performers. So any performance is successful whenever the people who are playing the role there as performer, they are very passionate and they are doing extraordinary work. So I salute your work, Dr. Nilima ma'am and Dr. Archana ma'am, and all the members of CTF Assam, the way you are working, because I had been communicated with many other organizations, but this Assam chapter, CTF, it gives very positive vibes. And when I interact with them, it is always a special feeling in my heart that, yes, really in the field of education, because I really love the field of teacher education, especially. And CTF is working for teacher education and all the teachers from Assam chapter and all over India. So it's a wonderful thing. And today's theme itself is a very nice. So let me share my screen. I have few points to share with you, because whenever I read this policy, I discover something new. So this policy has given very wonderful things to all the fraternity of teachers all over India, that definitely we will be learning something every day and we are going to implement it. So first, let me tell you that this policy is based on, before answering the question of Dr. Archana, that I'll come to the vision directly. But before that, this policy is built on the foundational pillars. There are 5 pillars. First is access, second is equity, third is quality, fourth is affordability, and fifth is accountability. And these 5 pillars are really strong for all the teachers, because whenever all my students, they get access to education, there is always an equity. We are going to provide a very quality education to the students. It's very affordable to everybody, and we are accountable for every, we can say every aspect of education. So just for a second, I'm going to share this news with you. This was one survey done by one college at Mumbai in Maharashtra. And it was asked that how many teachers have read the education policy, National Education Policy 2020. And there is an article published in newspaper that only 60% of city teachers, they haven't read it. And the survey says that only 40% teacher has read, and out of that, many teachers, they don't know what exactly this policy is. So let me tell you first, our priority is to understand the vision of this policy. We must read the policy first. So that is what is firstly needed. And as you all know, the evolution of this education policy, right from University Education Commission from 1948 to 49 till this policy, because the first draft came in 2019, and we actually started with the implementation now, and we are just discussing and we are trying to understand what this policy says. So first of all, let me tell you that what this National Education Policy 2020, it is approved by Union Cabinet of India on 29th July 2020. And this policy aims to transform India's education system by 2040. And especially if we talk about teacher education has given time till 2030 that we will be transforming all the systems, and we will be having a cluster of colleges, multidisciplinary colleges. We will merge some colleges. I'll tell all the details in later aspect. So the main vision of National Education Policy 2020 is this National Education Policy actually envisions an education system rooted in Indian ethos that contributes directly to transforming India. I like this word, transforming India. So first of all, this policy itself has vision of transforming India, that is Bharat, sustainably into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society. Very beautifully quoted, means this policy itself has very extraordinary people like Dr. Kasturi Rangan and his team. They have formulated this in such a way that equitable and vibrant knowledge society, and by providing high quality education to all, and thereby making India a global knowledge superpower. So whenever I read, I have read it again and again and again, and every day I discover something. Yes, this is there right from pre-primary to secondary to higher education. So there are so many changes going to happen. And when we see the vision and when we think of this education policy, it develops a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental rights, duties, and constitutional values bonding with one's country, and a conscious awareness of one's role and responsibilities in a changing world. So it connects us to be Indian, it connects us to the society, it connects us to the student, and it connects us to the actual real ground reality, that exactly what is our role being a teacher. Because here, who is the real implementer? Government has given the policy to all. Now we are different committees at state level. Committees are discussing on various aspects, and there will be some, we can say we have to follow some things to directly implement it. And many of the teachers, especially, they are confused that what we have to do, what is our exact role. So whenever we try to find out, it actually instills skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. So when I say this policy has a very strong base, this policy is based on a strong pillars where we can say we are definitely going to transform India. And any education system of any country, means always we say, if you really want to see what kind of people stay in a particular country, we have to check the education system of that country. And any education policy, right from earlier, we were actually implemented so many policies, but this policy is different. Why it is different? Because the foundation of this policy is totally different than earlier policies. And many things, if you see the Kothari Commission or National Policy 1986, few things are not still implemented. Means 100% policy could not be implemented, but still they have transformed the education system. But this policy definitely will have a different atmosphere in the field of education, especially because it has a great vision that we really want to transform India with help of the extraordinary efforts by all the teachers, and we are real implementers. So that's what I wanted to say, Dr. Archana, about the vision of this policy. You are muted, ma'am.
So thank you, Dr. Sandhya. You have satisfactorily answered my question, and I have found a lot of answers, or like a lot of feelers to the gaps existing in your mind. But I particularly like what you pointed out initially about the unawareness of the teacher educators. And as the research finding shows, that in spite of so much of awareness, from the government sector or from the private organizations or anybody who's related to education, trying the level best to create awareness about the NEP 2020 for the last 2 years, yet research proves that the teachers are keeping away from it. They are in a state of confusion, yet they are not trying to, fill up the gaps by doing some kind of intensive study, because it will benefit them in the long run. So that is one gap all teachers need to fill up on their own. It should be a conscious decision. And secondly, I particularly liked one thing very rightly pointed out by you, that this new education policy is definitely going to succeed because it is rooted in the Indian ethos. There was a big gap earlier. None of the previous policies actually had given so much of stress on that Indian ethos. Now, I'm sure all of future human resources, as they study, as they grow up, they learn about their own motherland. They grow up with all the traditions, all the cultures which are a part of their growing up process, or should be. Then I'm sure they will try the level best to contribute towards nation building. They love their own country, and the teachers here have to play that role. They have to fill up the gaps existing in the mind of the children and tell them what they need to learn to become responsible citizens of tomorrow, and not just of their own nation, but become global citizens also. So that was indeed a very nice answer, and I liked it. Thank you. And there is another question which is always there in my mind. I just want to know in what way NEP 2020 is focused on experiential learning at all the stages of education system.
Yeah, actually, this is a very important aspect of this policy, because when we say that more awareness is needed, so every teacher should at least once read this policy. That is the first thing. Second thing is what exactly my role is in this policy and what I am going to do in teaching learning process. That is second thing. And this kind of webinars, this kind of awareness is needed. Like CTF Assam chapter is conducting this webinar on this topic today. So we are creating awareness about this policy. Whatever we understood out of this policy, we are spreading the message to everyone. But here, the main thing is, I think there are some few points about experiential learning. Let me just see where it is. Okay. So experiential learning, when we say what exactly it is, it's hands-on learning, art integrated and sports integrated education, storytelling based pedagogy. Means we have to understand that we are going to focus more on hands-on activities. We will be focusing more on the out of the classroom activities. Means theory part will be there, but the major role of teachers here is we are going to shift towards competency-based learning and education. We will try to find out the skills of the students. We will try to find out that what is the ability of a child, and that kind of activities we are going to give. Because this policy itself says that if a child is learning engineering and he or she wants to learn music, we have to give the music subject to the student. If any musician is there, the child is learning music class and he or she wants to learn commerce, it is always allowed. So experiential learning comes. The mandated content will focus on key concepts, ideas, applications, and problem solving. And teaching and learning will be conducted in a more interactive manner. Nowadays also we are doing it in interactive manner, but when experiential learning it in all stages. Because previously in previous policy, I'm not comparing, but I must tell you that in previous policy, there was less importance at all stages. Experiential learning was there, but not at all stages. So right from primary, because if you see the preschools concept will not be there in future. So preschool will be attached to the main schooling, and students will take entry in the school right from preschooling. So right from preschool to primary to secondary to junior college and to higher education, at all stages, the experiential learning is actually mandated by this new National Education Policy 2020. And in a nutshell, if we see the structure, new structure, we all know that 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. And it has multidisciplinary and a holistic education. Multilingualism is there. National Research Foundation means there will be research universities, research institutions, which were not there earlier. So, and when there is a research institute, we again have to go for the experiential learning. We have to do some experiments. We have to do some researches in the laboratories. Then conceptual understanding is there. Formative assessment will be more focused. 4-year integrated teacher education program is designed. Multiple entry and exit options. So student is entering in one course and student want to complete the other part of any other particular course. Student can take entry in that course and he or she will earn the credit from different courses, the variety of subjects, and he or she will be able to get one particular degree. Life skill is more focused on this in this policy. then technology integration is there, critical thinking, experiential learning is major thing here. The reason behind that is when actually we focus on experiential learning, students learn better. And here the role of teacher changes, because we will not be teaching students in future. We are going to play a role of facilitator. We are going to be a support system to our students, because if we are not updated, if we do not integrate all these new things in education policy, we will not be successful in implementing it in real way. So because the fundamental principle, when you go through the whole policy, it actually focus on regular formative assessment for learning. And when there is regular formative assessment, students are always active. So activity-based teaching learning, again and again having formatting assessment of students, so student will be more focused on their learning, extensive use of technology in teaching learning, respect for diversity and respect for the local context, full equity and inclusion. And there are many things that outstanding research will be there, rootedness and pride in India, light but tight regulatory framework to ensure integrity, transparency and resource efficiency. So there are so many points given in fundamental principles of National Education Policy 2020. And what I could understand is, being a teacher now onwards, when I'm implementing this policy, I have to be always upgrading myself. I have to be always updating myself. I must learn that what new activity should I give to my students. And whenever I'm planning, the execution part is actually more important, because in experiential learning, before conducting the class, the earlier homework is very much needed in experiential learning. So the work style of teacher will definitely get changed, because we need to understand what this policy actually asks us to do, because there will be no hard separation among curricular, extracurricular and co-curricular activities. Earlier it was like that, this is curricular activity, you will get marks for this, this is co-curricular and this is extracurricular. So there will be mixture of subject, there will be mixture of activities. And when we say multidisciplinary itself gives that being a student, I can learn any subject from any faculty. And here teacher will be in trouble while collecting all those credit points of particular subject of a student, and that student is running for other course. So we actually have to keep track. But I think this is a wonderful thing when we give a lot of opportunities to students. So experiential learning is something that will actually, as the main focus is on transforming India. So when skill-based education is there, and when we are asking students to be more active in their learning, and teacher is playing an important role. So I think at that time, there will be a real education happen, because the main purpose of education is all-round development of a child. And that is the base for this experiential learning.
So thank you, Dr. Sandhya, for explaining the concept of experiential learning so simply and in such a detailed manner as well. It's certainly going to bring about an overhauling of the entire education system. And you have rightly pointed that out. It was there earlier too, in the earlier policies also, but it was not required that it be implemented at all the stages. Now the system had changed slightly. This concept has to be implemented at all the stages, And what I gather from what you have said is that we teachers have to be on our foot at all times. We have to be on the move to keep pace. I mean, we talk about the students becoming global citizens, but we also have to learn to be global teachers, have to keep pace with time, learn everything new, just so that we can guide our students in the best possible manner. I'm sure it's going to be a big success if all the teachers think and contribute in that manner. So now I have another question, and my third question is related to your area of interest, your passion, technology, obviously. So I want to know, how does use of technology and integration can empower the school teachers and the teacher educators as per the reforms expected in NEP 2020?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Archana, for asking that question. Actually, technology is something that is very near to me. And this policy, at very right time, they have given in this policy that technology is an integral part of this national education policy, and every teacher should be techno savvy. And we are in the age of education 4.0, and this policy itself says, so let me share a few points about technology, I think. Yeah. So when we think of technology, one thing always comes in mind, like pandemic. In pandemic, all my teachers and teacher educators, they were working online, and this digital education, it is emphasizing on effective mode of blended learning. So when technology use and integration part comes in, national education policy says that dedicated unit for digital and online learning. So a dedicated unit for the purpose of building of digital infrastructure. That means first thing what we have to do is whatever school structure, college structure, and all infrastructure facilities we have to build a dedicated unit for technologies. That is the first thing. Then the e-education needs for both school and higher education. So school system, they need to develop their infrastructure even in higher education. A comprehensive set of recommendations for promoting online education consequent to the recent rise. And when we say that the fourth revolution of digital technology and national education policy 2020 says that in every classroom, right from pre-primary to higher education, and basically in teacher education, because in teacher education, we were learning ICT subject, information communication technology, and few part of technology teaching. But here, national education policy has focused on augmented reality, virtual reality, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, big data analytics, cloud computing, where cyber security always comes there, then 3D printing, digital simulation, and robotics. These are a very, very new concept to all of us. But every teacher has to learn this technology, why this is needed, because this policy demands that in every classroom, there will be devices which will be connected with Internet of Things. For example, if I am parking my vehicle in my college at ground level and my classroom is on 3rd or 4th floor, so I'll be able to switch on the projector in my classroom right from the parking, because my key of my car is connected with the switch of the digital, all the equipments in my classroom situation. So IoT concept will be there, because we were never knowing that in pandemic situation will come and we will be connecting with each other on digital platform, and we could connect because we were willing to do it, and we could cope up with all these difficulties of technology. In the same way, it looks like it is difficult in country like India, because in rural area all these facilities are not there. But the policy demands that government will provide some facilities. Some schools have to come up with some things. Means recently we had some discussion in Maharashtra level committees regarding national education policy. So everybody is for it. Everybody is willing to face the new challenges, because when there will be more technology, we will grow more. As India is a developing country and this national education policy is focusing on transforming India, so technology is an integral part. We have to adapt it. We cannot say that this is not possible in rural area, network is not there, student don't have the facility, teachers don't know how to teach online. So though everything is starting offline, still online teaching learning processes will be always there, and we can grow when we adapt new technology. So this use, where we are going to use, national education policy say that education planning, we need technology, teaching, learning and assessment, we need technology, administration and management, we need technology, regulation, and we can say increasing access of disadvantaged groups. And this policy has beautifully given Divyang friendly education software. This is one of the important aspect of this policy because it was not there in earlier policies. Divyang friendly education software should be there at every school. E-content in regional languages means government is trying to provide e-content in all the languages of India. Virtual labs will be there in every school and college. National Education Technology Forum is going to establish. Digitally equipping school, teachers and students means when we say this policy has given technology integration in education at primary level, higher and professional education, educational administration, getting used to AI, that is artificial intelligence, because if the technology is there, but technology will never dominate human brain. Humans are always needed, teachers are always needed, because India has gone digital and we have to adapt to this new technology. So getting used to AI, the policy acknowledges the issues that have arisen as a result of the extensive use of artificial intelligence, because we actually are using artificial intelligence in various ways. Like we at home, we have Alexa device. Few schools in mega cities, they already have installed Alexa and different kind of robots in the laboratories, and they are welcoming this change. They are welcoming in this change because IB board, IGCSE, CBSE, ICSE and state boards also, they are welcoming new technology because this actually estimated time frame for disruption, we say that, presenting a periodic analysis to the MHRD and different elements of disruptive technology, including data handling and protection problems. If there is a classroom and where teacher is teaching geography subject and there is no globe in the hand, teacher is just moving the hands and virtually that globe is visible to all students. So with the help of augmented reality and artificial intelligence, we will be able to show any place, any equipment, any kind of research to the students in the classroom situation. Because this policy calls for investment in digital infrastructure, the development of online teaching platforms and tools. So my dear teachers, we need to learn this, because how the classroom will look, it is just a 1 minute clip. I would like to show this to you, that how exactly our classroom, after implementing this policy, how our classroom will look. So there is no voice behind this video. Just see that what kind of classrooms we are going to have after implementation of this National Education Policy 2020. So you can see there is a classroom and students are entering in the classroom. They don't have big school bags. They don't have books in their hand. They just have a small chip. And with help of that, they are using, you can see the globe, how teacher is showing. So this is called as augmented reality. And teacher is explaining that what is Mars, this is Earth, these are different planets. And in this laboratory, there are no equipments and teacher is using artificial intelligence. And this is a lab, you can see a small gadget. With the help of small gadget, students will be able to do any calculations. They will learn any formula. They don't need textbooks. Even they don't need laptops. They don't need computers. On just a plain table, they will be using all this. So we are just focusing on this kind of technology. And my dear friends, in next 10-12 years, you will see this kind of classroom. So can you see, isn't it wonderful? No equipment is needed. Teacher is just explaining this is the Earth, this is the model of DNA, and students are doing some experiments in the laboratories. Teacher is explaining what is acetic acid and the model of it, and there is no equipment in the laboratory. but still student will be able to learn. And you can see some screens are there. They are not real laptops. That is virtual reality. So this national education policy has given a wonderful thing, and I'm just dreaming of this kind of classroom. And in India, definitely it is going to happen, because we all teachers are going to implement this. So we don't need chalkboards, we don't need chalks to write, we don't need a very big equipments. With a small experiments and with just small gadgets, we will be able to learn. Experiential learning will be more focused, and we can type on any platform and it will get typed. We don't need to do examinations, the offline examination. We can just click and we can appear for the examination. So that is a wonderful thing given by technology, and National Education Policy 2020 focuses on this kind of classroom. And I'm just imagining that I'm entering in the classroom. I don't have anything in hand. My students don't have any books in hand, but still they are getting real experience of learning in the classroom situation with help of augmented reality and virtual reality and robotics and artificial intelligence. So this is a wonderful blessing given by technology. The only thing is we need to prepare for it. We need to develop this kind of infrastructure. We need to develop these kinds of teachers. So again, the responsibility of teacher education is more. And being teacher educator, I think I am causing the matter. If any teacher is not knowing technology, I am causing the matter. I am not doing anything. That's why they are not doing anything. So this is something that this policy, if really implemented successfully, it will really transform India. So that's what I wanted to share, Dr. Archana.
This is truly awesome, Dr. Sandhya. It's truly awesome. And the technology being an integral part of NEP 2020, all that I've heard reconfirms my belief that it's indeed going to bring about a revolutionary change in our country in the next couple of years. And obviously, it's going to be very positive changes, and our future resources will develop more and more and become expert global citizens. And we'll be proud of our country, our education system, and of our human resources too. So now I have just two more questions for you. And my next question is, what are the new challenges in front of the school teachers in implementing NEP 2020?
Wow, that is a wonderful question. And let me tell you, all the pre-primary and primary teachers, they are really scared, because I took some teacher training programs. And when we discussed on National Education Policy 2020, and it is saying that a student will not enter in first standard in school, because there will be pre-primary attached to all the schools. Because previously, till now, we were having pre-primary school separately. The student could learn in private pre-primary school, and they then come to the real education system from class 1. But now the scene will be totally different. So we will be admitting students right from pre-primary. And if we, when we think of school education and real challenges in front of teachers, because this policy is really going to transform teachers also. Because makers of National Education Policy have drafted the portion related to school education in such a way that it is acceptable to most of its readers. They have combed all earlier reports and documents on education in India, because the documents on school education brought out by NCERT and CBSE are there. But if you see the structure in this figure, I have tried to show the exact comparison that how the existing academic structure is and how the new academic structure will be. So the existing structure on the left hand side, you can see the 10 years, that is from age 6 to 16, from first standard to 10th standard, that is SSC, and 2 more years, that is 11th and 12th. But now, new National Education Policy says that the structure will be like the foundational stage. It will be Anganwadi or school, we can say the pre-primary school, where child will get entry in the age of 3. In the age of 3, and foundational stage is for 5 years, multi-level play activity based learning. Experiential learning is more focused on here, and activity based learning for complete 5 years. Then second is preparatory stage, where student will be there for 3 years, right from class 3 to class 5. And in this preparatory stage, play, discovery, and activity-based and interactive classroom learning will be there. Then we will move to the next, that is third stage. It is for 3 years, class 6 to class 8. The age group of student will be from 11 years to 14 years. That will be called as middle stage, that is third stage. So experiential learning in the science, mathematics, arts, social science, and humanities will be there, right from 6th standard to 8th. And the fourth stage, that will be called as secondary stage, class 9 to 12, and age group will be 14 to 18. And here again, multidisciplinary study, greater critical thinking, flexibility, student choice of subject. And teachers are really scared that if the student choose any subject, so we have to run behind the children that what subject he is studying, we have to keep the record of that, we have to keep the record of this. And right from third year, from entry level is 3 year of a child. So 3 year to 18 years, there will be 4 stages. That is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. And when we focus more on experiential learning, when we focus more on technology, where we focus more on activity-based teaching learning processes, teacher's role is going to be a very, very crucial and important here. Because early childhood care education framework, this has given in a very wonderful way, because this national education policy believes that if we want to educate children, the foundation of the child should be very strong. So they are again and again emphasizing on foundation. That's why pre-primary or early stage is more focused in this policy. So the role of a teacher who is teaching in primary level, who are teaching in preparatory level, it's very important here. Because early childhood education, learning in the formative years, we can say developing curiosity, logical thinking, problem solving, art, craft, music, relationship with nature, color, shape, alphabet, number. So we have designed this curriculum in pre-primary, primary at different level with earlier policy. But now we have to restructure the syllabus. We have to restructure the curriculum, and we have to restructure our teaching process, because there will be more and more focus on health and nutrition, physical education, fitness, wellness. Students will be mostly involved in sports activities, and they will be actively engaged, because we have to adopt innovative pedagogies. So my dear teachers, those who are willing to teach in pre-primary, primary, secondary, they have to learn innovative pedagogies, because the shift is going to come. And when we think of multidisciplinary, there will be different kind of learning situations, there kind of different subjects where student will be allowed to choose any subject of his choice, and textbook with local content and flavor. So we have to think on local aspect also, multilingualism and the power of language learning. So they will be learning, as we say, the 3 language formula was there in earlier policy. And let me tell you a few points about the language, that it says, when medium of instruction up till grade 5 and preferably till grade and 8 beyond will be home language, mother tongue, local language. Again, policy is saying state government will take their decision. So they have given this right to state government, that whatever they want to focus on, they can. And there are few areas that have potential to dilute the good intention of the makers and the render NEP 2020 as good as any other previous attempts to improve school education in India. Because if we see, this policy is focusing on and let me tell you one more thing, that IB board and IGCSE schools are very much happy there was one survey done by a few of the research students in Maharashtra, and IB and IGCSE schools are happy that finally India got a document that meets their standards and passes their muster. Central Board of Secondary Education schools are gleaming as their ambition to look like IB and IGCSE is finally coming through. So standard of curriculum, standard of syllabus is totally different, but still student will be learning their mother tongue. Students will be learning their local language. So it is their choice. Even state government will actually more focus on it. They will guide us that what our students actually should learn. 3 languages to be taught will be decided by state. All classical languages will be widely available in school as options. So if any student want to learn French or Japanese or German or any other languages, it's it will be student's choice. And main focus here in school education, particularly school education, supporting children with special needs. And this is a wonderful thing of this policy that they are thinking of all kind of children. So equality will be definitely there. And they are going to make school complexes cluster, like we say teacher education complexes will be there. We are going to merge it with some other colleges. And where there is merging, there is always sharing of resources. So when we share the resources, we get more exposure. And that is what, when we think of teacher's role here, basically what I want to point out here is there will be total transformation in pedagogy. There will be total transformation in teaching methodologies. We have to forget the previous methodologies we were teaching to our students. We have to learn new things, that how more learning, rich learning experiences I can give to my students. And when every teacher understands the role, I think that this policy will be really a successful. So thank you, Dr. Archana.
That was indeed a very informative answer. And one thing has come out very loud and clear from your sharing of your views, and that is the shift is going to come. That's for sure. There's no other alternative, and the teachers have to make all the necessary adjustment. And one thing they need to understand is that innovative pedagogy is a must.
Yeah.
And all the teachers who are fearing the new challenges, actually, if they stop thinking of it as a challenge, and if they think of it as a part of the system, definitely they will be able to adjust with all the new changes, move with the times, and become competent teachers in the long run. So again, as you have very rightly pointed out, teachers play a very important role here. The teachers have to keep pace with time, learn everything that's new every day. Every day is a learning day for the teachers. And coming to the last question of the day, and I think it is a very important question also, what is the teacher educators and the teachers training institutions' role in the implementation of the new education policy 2020?
So finally, teacher education will get a prime role here, because who is going to implement all the teachers and who are going to make all these teachers to teach is teacher training institutions. So teacher training institution role is totally different, and I believe that we will have a very good curriculum for this integrated course. So let me quickly share with some of the aspects of teacher education, because teacher education is something that, if you see in this slide, National Education Policy says that 4-year integrated BA course will be there. Minimum degree qualification for teaching, and 2-year B.Ed for applicants within existing bachelor's degree in other specialized subjects. 1-year B.Ed was there. So we shifted from 1 year to 2 year, and now we are shifting from 2 year to 4-year integrated course. But the again question arises that India has 18,000 standalone B.Ed colleges. Means there is only one course run in teacher education institution, that is Bachelor of Education, and there are 18,000 colleges in India. So when we are shifting towards 4-year integrated course, what exactly we are going to do with the infrastructure of those 18,000 colleges, how we are going to merge this because when we have this discussion of implementing teacher education successfully, my first question to all the authorities was how we are going to merge all the teacher education fraternity to the arts, science, commerce colleges, and what we will do of this all 18,000 standalone colleges infrastructure, what we will do if we are shifting, because they are seeing you should come to a composite, you should merge it with some other institutions, multidisciplinary aspect. It is good, no doubt. Teacher education has given time till 2030. So till 2030, this 2-year course will run. But after 2030, we have to shift to 4-year integrated course. Again, the question is, will this 2-year course will go in long run? If students are willing to opt it, we should give, because we are thinking of students' perspective only, that students should get choice, that he or she will be able to select any kind of subject, any kind of faculty. But here, are we imposing to all students that you should go in 4-year integrated? 4-year integrated is good, no doubt. Some institutions are running it successfully. But if you see what is the outcome, how we are going to implement it, there are many questions in it, because multidisciplinary higher education institution offering the 4-year B.Ed course, integrated B.Ed course program, to also provide blended and ODL mode of teaching to students in remote areas. Means national education policy is saying that when after 2030, when there will be 4-year integrated B.Ed course in all the educational institutions in teacher education. So this policy and NCT needs, actually, as Nilima madam is there and she is very active in NCT, all the, we can say in the meetings, I really want to focus on this aspect, that any attempt to reform teacher training institutions and to improve teachers training system is made. This is not an out of the box idea. And NEP contains adequate enabling provisions to achieve this. It advocates that in place of standalone teacher education institution, they must become an integral part of the multidisciplinary institution of higher education. So if we are becoming the multidisciplinary teacher education, we are going to merge with some other colleges and we are going to share their faculty, we are going to share the subjects, we are going to club 2 different faculties there, and this B.Ed college will be again a department in any arts, science, commerce college. So how we are going to do go about that, because this policy says that multidisciplinary education and research universities will be there. There will be 3 kind of higher education institutions. First is research university, second is teaching university, and third is autonomous colleges. If we are having these 3 kinds of higher education institutions, how exactly we are going to do this? So this is a question in front of every teacher educator of India, that there is no clear-cut mention about exactly what we are going to do, because the present system of teacher education institute is deeply problematic. I'm very responsibly saying this word. I'm responsible for this. That is, it is really problematic. All possible forms of malpractices are prevalent and agents are middlemen flourish there. The existing model of a teacher education institute having 100 or 200 students or 100 students nominated from an entrance examination conducted by the government, attending a classroom learning of 2 years in financially, we can say often there is a problem with some institutions, private institutions, that they are not implementing this course in a very serious manner. Then if we go for 4-year integrated, the syllabus, how exactly we are going to implement that. So I really tried to find out the answer, but I couldn't get the clear answer for this, because strengthening teacher education TET's teacher eligibility test for all teachers across foundational, preparatory, middle and secondary stage, both public and private schools. So we are asking our teachers who are completing this course of Bachelor of Education or Master of Education, we are again asking them to appear for the teacher eligibility test. We are again asking them for tech-based planning for teacher recruitment, then test score and demonstration part of recruitment. What kind of assessment will be there? Then again, there is a question. But when we see the positive aspect of it, it is always empowering. And this National Education Policy 2020, basically and especially for teacher education course, it is empowering because a technology-based comprehensive teacher requirement planning is forecasting career growth to be available of teachers, because rigorously teacher will take training for 4 years. And 4-year integrated means 4 years they are taking training for teacher education, and we are going to meet the national and international standards, improving service environment through better infrastructure at school and college level, teachers to have more autonomy in choosing different pedagogy and classroom teaching, academic leadership positive to made available for teachers. Teachers professional development is focused here. So merit-based teacher has to improvise, teacher has to learn many skills. Skill-based education is there. And especially when we talk about the teacher education, we are people where we are going to train the school teachers, and these school teachers, they are going to train the future generations. And this mechanism, this is learning outcome based thing. And what I could understand from integrated course is that the learning outcome, the objective is really wonderful. The things we are going to implement is again a question in front of each one of us. And we are actually, when we say new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education by 2021, and by 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teacher will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. And present status and issues are, while government efforts has helped to ensure near universal access to primary schools, it has also led to the development of numerous very small schools, leading to following challenges. So small school also present a systematic challenge for governance and management. And my dear friends, here the role of teacher educators is very, very crucial and very, very important here, because when we think of having multidisciplinary course, when we think of having integrated course of 4 years, we need to understand first, because always if there is a change, we immediately do not accept it. But when we think the positive side of it, it is wonderfully mentioned that teacher education will give a real quality. There will be real access, those who really want to become a good teachers. And in conclusion, I would like to say, while the policy is a novel and forward-thinking document that recognizes the critical role of technology in facilitating learning and teaching, it is critical to develop a cohesive plan of action for fostering technological proficiency in order to facilitate successful engagement with technology and its future advancements, while providing effective data protection and privacy safeguards. And basically, when we think of a teacher education, it is always there that everybody has different view, everybody has different opinion, everybody has different perspective to look at this policy. But this policy document is really wonderful. And if we understand it and if we implement it successfully, there will be definitely a different scenario in the field of teacher education also. Because teacher education is a field where we are shaping the future generation. We are making the new generation of school teachers. And these school teachers are going to implement all these things, or activity-based learning, teaching learning throughout the country in different kind of schools. So the role of teacher educators is very, very important here. And this policy, let us see, by 2030, we still have time. We are now in 2022. and we have time to plan, we have time to implement. The only thing is, my request to all the authorities who are working for National Council for Teacher Education is, please mention all the clear things, because every teacher educator is confused that what exactly we have to do. So if there is there are some discussions on these kind of platforms and we are getting awareness, because I just have transformed the few points which I could understand through this policy. And being teacher educator, being in the field of teacher education, I believe that if I understand it and if I implement it successfully, this policy will definitely be successful, because it has a great vision and it has a great power to transform India. So that's why I wanted to share. Over to Dr. Archana. Ma'am, you are muted.
I said, thank you very much. The last answer to the question has actually summed up everything. No matter what we plan, unless and until we have good teacher education institution where the future teachers are groomed holistically to take over their new responsibilities, the whole mission or the vision of the NEP 2020 will end up as a fiasco or as a failure. So the institution will play a very important role, and all the teachers who will be groomed in such institution will go over, take their responsibility seriously, and they in turn will groom the future human resources. Now, the answers to all the 5 questions, there were more, of course, but due to paucity of time, I had to stick to these 5 relevant questions. I'm sure most of these questions were there in the minds of the other teachers too. So this has really been a very revealing session, a talk show, in fact. And I'm sure all the teachers were enlightened. And in addition to these questions, if any of the teachers present here today have any queries in their mind, any observation, you may please feel free, unmute yourself, raise your question. It's over to you. The platform is yours.
Okay, let me break the ice.
Yeah.
Okay. She has covered already lots of things, but practically for teacher education and also for the general education, all the teachers, right from the foundation stage to the teacher education, higher education, there are some challenges which they have to overcome if one's teacher wants to stick as a teacher, wants to stay as a teacher, wants to give contribution to the nation. The first challenge is writing textbooks in the medium, regional language. That is a huge, huge necessity. We don't have that kind of very high standard quality books. Of course there are, but not very high. So if you want to make quality, good quality, you have to also give them good quality textbooks. That is lacking. That's a big challenge. Second one is interaction inside and outside the classroom. How to do the interaction? How to do the interaction with the students? The teachers have to learn, the teacher educators have to learn. Third one is becoming tech savvy. Sandhya has already said, they must know what is augmented, what is virtual reality, what it is, everything, not only the PowerPoint presentation that each and everyone can do nowadays. And there is also art of making the PowerPoint presentation. So next one is becoming 21st century teacher, where the technology automatically gets in over here. So these are the very, very, sort of big challenges, I should say, and each and every teacher, gone are the days. Sandhya has shown some visuals which you have seen yourself, the future classroom. You will be facing the students of that type. So you have to also gear up. And now internet is there, we talk of internet, but intranet has become a buzzword now. Intranet, you have to take care of that. This is the challenges. Second part, I want to come right to the ITP, the integrated course of 4 years, that is after class 12. And one thing I'm very sure, it will develop teachers, it will bring teachers who has real interest in teaching. That is by choice, the teachers will get in, not by accident, not by accidental. That somebody is being appointed and gets into the class, takes the salary and goes home. Nothing is done inside. So that will reduce that. And secondly, this is very much professional, this 4 years course. Very much professional. He or she, just like the engineering, just like the medical, Ayurvedic, you know, including what is to be taught, complete, it will be covered. Third thing, as even Sandhya asked about the multidisciplinary, yes, time is there, but there is no other substitute. It has to be multidisciplinary, the entry must be there. And coming to the standalone, she talked about 18,000, I also sometimes see, but out of these 18,000 stand-alone institutions, some are really, they do not comply any norms to be the teacher education institutes. So that is going to be removed when they are doing nothing for the welfare of the youth. That is another thing. And a survey was made. This is, I don't know accurately, so I cannot give you the data, but it was somebody discussed in the NCT office that we have more B.Ed qualified teachers than is required for the country. Why? Because if somebody do not get a seat in the MA, say in Guwahati University after graduation, the choice is to go for B.Ed. But it is becoming a little bit tough now. They cannot get by any means, you know, it is not that easy. They have to pass the examination. So that is why we have more teachers. And they have also stopped the new institutions, developing the new institutions for the time being. And frankly speaking, I cannot reveal everything because we are still in discussion. But ITEP is going to be the first and the foremost important area of teacher education. And the minimum qualification a teacher must have. That is sure. So these are some of the challenges, the future for the teacher educators. You have to now gear up. You have to gear up. And you have to really think that, yes, I am fit for this profession and I will be a teacher. I'll become a better teacher. I'll become a tech-savvy teacher. I'll become a teacher of the 21st century. This is what you must be mentally prepared. And there was another one, I think what she has asked, I have written down. I don't know. Yes. Somebody, no, not here. Yesterday, somebody asked me over phone regarding the English, why English is not given importance. It is not true at all. I don't know from where they get all these informations. I don't know myself. Look at China, look at Japan, look at Russia. They are producing PhD scholars' theses in Chinese, in Russian, in Japanese. So what harm? What harm is there in introducing the regional language, the mother tongue, up to class 8, and after that, the state government will take the decision how it will go continue. So it's good. And mother tongue is the only way the children get the real concept of what is going to be taught, right? A child will be more, you know, sort of familiar with the word pani because he's hearing it all the time at us, not with water. If you say water, go and get a glass of water for me, he'll be confused. So lots of things are there. So we have to consider, but once we are teachers, we have to think that we should do what is best for our student community. We have to do what is best to build the future generation, the present generation, as the best global citizens, equipped with all the skills and all the knowledge. This is what I wanted to say from my end. And if somebody wants to say anything, to ask anything to Sandhya, I think it is welcome. If time is not the constraint. But anyway, it is a very good presentation done, Sandhya.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you for your views on this topic. They are really, I mean, we really wanted to listen from you also. Yeah. Thank you.
If somebody has any question, then they can pass it. I mean, write it in the chat box and later on Sandhya
yeah. I think, ma'am, we should round up here because there's a time constraint.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And Dr. Sandhya, and after that, your observation has kind of, summarized all the points. that needs to be discussed. And I'm sure all the teachers who are virtually present here have got plenty of food for thought until our next talk show. And as suggested by Dr. Sandhya, I think we need to organize more and more programs of this kind amongst the teacher educators, just so that they do not approach the new education policy with any kind of negativity in their mind. We need to equip ourselves with all the new skills, the new technologies, and everything that is required to make us befitting 21st century teachers. That is, we need to become teachers, not just for the 21st century, but also for this digital age. So
Right.
on this positive note, I would like to thank Dr. Sandhya for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today and to share her excellent views on the new education policy and how it's going to affect all of us in the days ahead. I would also like to thank Dr. Nilima Bhagwati ma'am, that in spite of her busy schedule today, she somehow or the other managed to come out of a meeting and be here with us. I would also like to thank all the viewers and all the participants who were here or who were watching live stream on our Facebook page as well as on YouTube. And I particularly want to thank Gracia Technology. Again, we come back to technology. Without that support, we are nowhere. So thank you so much, Gracia Technology, also for always supporting us and helping us to reach out to as many teachers and teacher educators as much as possible. So till we meet again next time, next month for another talk show, I wish to thank all of you and Shubharatri, good night. And thank you and namaste once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.